When I loved myself enough, I came to know that I am worthy of knowing God directly. When I loved myself enough, I could feel God in me and see God in you. That makes us divine. Are you ready for that? When I loved myself enough, I came to love being alone, surrounded by silence, awed by its spell, listening to inner space. When I loved myself enough, I started meditating every day. This is a profound act of self-love. When I loved myself enough, the parts of me long ignored, the orphans of my soul, quit vying for attention. That was the beginning of inner peace. Then I began seeing clearly. When I loved myself enough, I could allow my heart to burst wide open and take in the pain of the world. When I loved myself enough, I could remember during times of confusion, struggle, or grief that these too are part of me and deserve my love. When I loved myself enough, I realized I am never alone. When I loved myself enough, I learned to ask, who in me is feeling this way? When I feel anxious, angry, restless, or sad, if I listen patiently, I discover who needs my love. When I loved myself enough, I stopped fearing empty time and quit making plans. Now I do what feels right and am in step with my own rhythms, delicious. When I loved myself enough, I forgave myself for all the times I thought I wasn't good enough. When I loved myself enough, things got real quiet inside, real nice. When I loved myself enough, I began listening to the wisdom of my body. It speaks so clearly through its fatigue, sensitivities, aversions, and hungers. When I loved myself enough, I quit rehashing the past and worrying about the future, which keeps me in the present where aliveness lives. When I loved myself enough, I began seeing the abuse in trying to force something or someone who isn't ready, including me. When I loved myself enough, I began leaving whatever wasn't healthy. This meant people, jobs, my own beliefs and habits, anything that kept me small. My judgment called it disloyal. Now I see it as self-loving. When I loved myself enough, I started picking up litter on the street. When I loved myself enough, I started writing about my life and views because I knew this was my right and my responsibility. When I loved myself enough, I stopped trying to banish the critical voices from my head. Now I say, thank you for your views, and they feel heard. End of discussion. When I loved myself enough, I let the part of me that still misses Kent feel sad instead of trying to stop her from loving him. When I loved myself enough, I learned to grieve for the hurts in life when they happen instead of making my heart heavy from lugging them around. When I loved myself enough, I began pouring my feelings into my journals. These loving companions speak my language, no translation needed. When I loved myself enough, I found my voice and wrote this book.